Inside you there are two wolves. Both of them are violently autistic, which is why I now own two convulsing nurses. Hi! So today I have something from Haunted Hill Farm. This is not sponsored. However, I did win their art contest. I am not filming at my house, so I do not have the piece of art directly with me, but here is my custom Convulsing Nurse style I made with the power of editing. So I obviously chose the 2025 Convulsing Nurse as my prize to go along with my 2013 one, which will be reviewed in a separate video. But we're gonna go ahead and unbox her, and we're gonna review her and demo her. I have not watched any other review channels review this version of Convulsing Nurse yet, so this is all, I'm going in completely fresh for this. Alright, so for parts, I have this piece which I'm going to assume is for her torso. I have we have the base, which I think might be smaller than the old one. It definitely feels heavier and more weighty, and it feels better quality. And then this I know is for around the module. And then we have more metal leg pieces, because the original one, all outside of her stand, everything else was plastic. So seeing these as metal is really nice. This I think is also for her torso. Then we have adapter. The module itself that I'm trying very hard not to break. And then we have her right here. I'm seeing some a lot of differences off the bat, but we're gonna obviously get her assembled first. We're gonna do some off-camera assembly because the module was being a bitch. But we're back. That is assembled now, so we're gonna move on to the next step. All right, we got her all assembled. She is relatively the same height, I think, maybe like an inch or two shorter than the 2013 one. I am just under 5'1", so she's slightly taller than me. I would say she's around 5'5". But yeah, we are going to demo her now, and then we're gonna go ahead and film the comparison with my 2013 one. Two animatronics with me today. One being my Convulsing Nurse from Spirit Halloween, made by Techie back in 2013. And then my 2025 Convulsing Nurse, also by Techie, but this time distributed through Haunted Hill Farm. And both of these animatronics are very, very different. They have a lot of visual differences and also a lot of technical differences. We'll kind of go with the visual differences first. With 2025, actually, I have noticed her head is a lot more better formed and molded compared to my 2013 one. It is really, really, really hard to show on camera without getting like an intense close-up, which I don't really want to do. And then obviously the hair is super different. It feels relatively like the same material, but it's a pretty different style. It's gonna tangle really easily because it's a cheap Halloween wig. Basically, that's just been glued on her. The main difference I did notice is with my 2025, her face appears to almost be like 3D printed. I'm not completely sure, but she has a lot of lines that resemble the lines in like a 3D printer. So it also makes me wonder if if her heads were printed with a flexible filament. If anyone has like an actual answer to that question, by all means, please let me know because I'm really curious.
Hey, this is me post-filming. I'm editing right now. So I did actually end up taking a close-up shot of the 2025 head. As you can see with the arrow, it shows these lines that look like the lines that appear when you 3D print something. So again, if anyone knows, this is what I'm talking about. If you could like explain it to me, like if I'm right and it's 3D printed or if it's something else, I'd appreciate it.
And then for another visual difference, we have the dress. I honestly prefer the material of the 2013 one. It is a lot thinner and more flowy, and I'm not going to compare the blood because all the blood done on here was done by me, and I have not touched my 2025 one yet, so I will not speak on that. Both the blood on them, when they both came to me, was not great, hence why this is custom blood done by me. So I'm not going to complain about that. The new one is a lot more stiff. You really have to be finicky with it to hold a shape you want, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. Otherwise, the symbols on both the dresses are the exact same, and for the neck is relatively the same too. Her head is not detachable. It is, in both models, completely connected to her dress. And then under both as well, she kind of has this netting for shape too, except on the old model, it's only in the front side, and for the new one, it's on front and back. The chains are relatively the same. I would say they're a little bit thicker on the newer ones, but overall, the paint job is pretty similar. If you did want to get really nitpicky, this is the adhesive on the old one. The adhesive fucking sucks.
Also, probably because the adhesive is 12 years old, you dumbass.
Which is why I have never actually attached them to my wall. I've tried, it just doesn't work. And then this is the new one. Instead of just the two sticky pads, it's just one big sticky pad. So I kind of wonder if these would hold up better on a wall for display. And then the hats are pretty much the same shape. I would say the old one looks a lot more dirtier on her clothes than the new one. The new one looks a lot more clean, obviously excluding the blood. Again, a lot of their biggest differences are technical, so I'm gonna disassemble. All right, the biggest differences between the 2013 and the 2025 animatronics are certainly the technical aspect of their builds. So it is kind of hard to see from this angle, but this is the only angle I can do. Is the 2013 one, the poles are made of plastic. It does have a metal base, but it's more of that like flimsy metal base that we really seen in the past and like more frequently with other companies as well as Techie. Meanwhile, the new one has this very hefty base and has these square metal poles instead of the round plastic ones. Overall, for assembly, I would say if you've never assembled an animatronic in your life and you want Convulsing Nurse, get the 2025 one. This was super easy to assemble and the instructions were a lot clearer than the 2013 ones. And then 2025 just has a lot less pieces too because again, you're not building all these damn poles. And the modules are also very different as well. I'm gonna lift this. Her mechanism in general is just completely different. As you can see right here, this isn't really my area of expertise, but you can see a huge difference. I'm thankful my 2013 one still works. I know a lot of people aren't that lucky, so I have both in working condition, so I did actually compare them. The thrashing motion on the new 2025 one seems to be a lot more violent, and I think it is solely just because her head is a lot more flappy, so it looks more violent. Otherwise, the difference isn't too big. The main difference when it comes to her activation, I would say, is that the audio is a lot clearer on the 2025 one, while for the 2013, you have to have the audio up really, really, really loud, or else you can hear the mechanism. The mechanism is very, very, very noisy. You cannot hear her audio unless it's up to the highest volume. So I would say that. Otherwise, everything else is similar. They have this covering the box on this one, meanwhile this is just pretty much open. And I think those are really the biggest differences. The controls are relatively the same, but overall, if you're more experienced in collecting and you like the 2013 version, I would go with 2013. I personally think 2013 has a better design. However, if you care more about wanting to use her, not just have her on display, or you're worried about durability, and also just cost in general. I have no idea how much the 2025 one costs because, again, I didn't pay for mine. I think last time I checked Amazon, she was around $250, but I don't know what she's priced at now just because of the current political situation. I'm not gonna get into that, so her price could have raised, but I remember my 2013 one was a gift from my boyfriend, and I think she was $450, practically new in the box, and she did not come with her first aid kit, which I'll talk about as well. The 2013 one was sold alongside, not with, a first aid activator switch, which I am still looking for to this day. And the 2025 one I really thought was going to be released alongside a new first aid kit activator switch, and she was not, which makes me really sad because people want stupid amounts for her. Well, not too stupid, it is kind of reasonable. There's really high amounts for her first aid kit activator, and the activator is already as rare as it is, and I have not been able to find one for sale since the purchase of my 2013 one. And one thing I'm actually kind of curious about is the compatibility of the activation switch.
Hi, so editing me again. A few weeks after I had initially filmed this, Halloween Hunter posted on his YouTube channel his review of his 2025 Convulsing Nurse, and he actually did test to see it was compatible because he does have the 2013 first aid kit, and they are both fully compatible, so there is your answer.
But yeah, that is pretty much all the differences. I would say overall 2025 has the better structure and mechanism. So from the technical and the build aspect, I would go with 2025, but when it comes to design, I would personally go with 2013. I will always choose 2013 over 2025 just because of nostalgia. The first time I walked into a Spirit Halloween was when I was in the 3rd grade in 2013. So it was during the time when Convulsing Nurse would have been on display at my local Spirit. So she's a special place in my heart for that, which is why, again, I am again, not sponsored, but you can sponsor me. You can sponsor me. But again, thank you to Haunted Hill Farm for choosing me as the winner for their art contest and then sending me the 2025 Convulsing Nurse. She will have a very good home with me.